Joe Rogan shocked Andrew Schulz with how much he pays comedians at his new club, the Mothership, coming up.
I think game up with the pay too. Can we talk about
Let's
that?
not talk about that. We don't need to talk about that. People don't need to know what people getting paid.
You are a good man and you care about comedians.
It's
I'll say that. You won't say it,
Well, thank you
but
very
I
much.
will say it for you. And you're going to some people up.
Well, the whole idea is just to make the best possible place for stand-ups to perform.
What
That's
Joe's
the
trying to
best
say is the
possible
whole
place.
idea is for him to make no money.
Yeah.
It's for comedians to make all
Well,
money.
my idea is to make it so that look, my only goal is the club break even.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care if it makes money. I make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm
Do
not
you?
worried about money. Yeah.
Have
I don't
you
worry
done
about
okay?
money.
Yeah.
I don't worry about money.
Yeah.
But I worry
I shot a bow and
about
arrow inside today. I know you're doing
yards.
okay.
But it's like, so that's not what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in is like, what would be the best case scenario? You know, I always talk about when we were kids, if someone said, oh, if you had all this money, what would you do? Well, I'd make the comedy club and I'd set it up just for comedians.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't you just do that?
Yeah.
So I just did it.
Yeah.
That was
it's
it.
crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the staff's awesome.
Yeah.
We've got the best people from the Comedy Store.
I mean, I already told you I was going to come down when you opened.
So Joe Rogan kind of tells Andrew Schulz, we don't need to talk about how much people are paid. But if you know anything about me and if you're anything like me, I'm curious, man. I'm like, all right, what is he paying new comics at the Mothership? Now we're going to do some digging. I did some digging and I pulled up Tom Segura where he was talking about what comedians get paid right now. And by that, we'll do a little more research and some speculation.
Across the nation for over 20 years. That
More.
rate.
Didn't this rate start in the 80s?
Well, no, in the 80s they got paid more.
Oh my God.
So, but for over 20 years, they've been paying the opening act $50 to host the show and the middle act $100. And of course, there's a huge sliding scale for the headliners. So let's just say that if you are a new headliner, you're not selling tickets, so you don't make as much money, but you get a living wage. If you're a big headliner, obviously you have a lot of draw. You get,
Lamborghini money.
Yeah, the part of the door. So what I'm talking about is like the MC in the middle are developing comics. They're people who are going to be headliners. They're and of course, yeah, they shouldn't make headlining money. But by not paying them even a reasonable wage, you cannot expect them to make a living, to develop, because they're going to have to get like 2 and 3 other jobs. And you can make the argument, well, that's what they should do. I guess, okay, that's what they should do. But to be fair, everybody else at those clubs is making more money. You understand what I'm saying? From 20 years ago, the booker, the club manager, the box office people, the servers, the bartender, the cleaning crew, they all make more money than they did 20 plus years ago at that comedy club. The only people not making more money are the people on the microphone performing, which is why the place is open.
So Tom Segura drops an undercover gem. I mean, I looked it up and I said, how much do the comedy clubs pay comedians? And it said $50 to $100 for an act. Now I thought, okay, well, maybe they perform multiple times in a night. Well, they don't actually perform multiple times a night. So they're not doing 3 performances for $100 each. They're making $300. They're new comics. So they're just performing once and then they're out. That's it. And then they go to a different comedy club and maybe they get a spot there. And I didn't believe it. I was like, this is no way. So I had to look it up. Tom Segura, huge comedian. So he verifies they pay $50 to $100 per set right now. And it's not $50 or $100 for the hour. It's $50 to $100 for the entire time it took them to develop that set and then go out and perform it. So I also did more research and found out that comedians, while on the road or if they do corporate gigs, can get paid up to 5 times as much. So anywhere between $500 to $1,500 for a gig. So if I was to guess, and I'm not a betting man, but if I was to guess, I would say Joe Rogan is probably competing with the higher end of the acts that people get paid. And we're talking about no-name comedians here. Now, there's a really cool Instagram tour here of the new Mothership, which is the name of the new comedy club. If you haven't seen the tour yet, check this out. Right here, they're doing a little drone shot. They're flying in. Sky Candy Studios looks pretty epic. And so this is the entrance. Pretty old looking building here. The Comedy Mothership. So this is theoretically where people, oh, look, big UFO right on the top as you enter, restrooms. And then I think they turn towards the rooms here. Fat Man and Little Boy. Is that the name of the nuclear bombs that were dropped on Japan? I think that was the name of the nuclear bombs dropped on Japan. Hecklers will be alienated, pun intended. This is the small room, I believe. So they have two different rooms. They have the small room for up and coming comics or comics to work on their work on their sets with a more intimate audience, and then they have a larger room, which is Fat Man. This is Little Boy. Fat Man is the larger room, I believe, and that's your more traditional large comedy club. So if Joe Rogan's paying $500 to $1,000 for the comics, I wouldn't say 1,000. That seems a little steep, right? No name comics that are developing, but maybe they have a little bit of a local buzz, and he's paying them $500 versus $100 is pretty nuts. And he said his goal is to not make. He doesn't want to make money. His goal is to break even. So this is the main room. Look at that. I mean, the high ceilings, pretty packed, pretty tight. It seems in there. I read an article where it said that they were having trouble. Even the wait staff was having trouble getting through the different tables. But I mean, this looks comfortable. I'm actually surprised how kind of outdated and like diner style it looks. I thought they would have kind of done a newer spin on things, but I think their goal was to keep the original vibe and feel of a comedy club and how they've always been. Now, I read that he's been selling tickets to the comedy club for $40 a piece. That was opening night, and they resold for up to $500, which is kind of shiesty, you know. Like if he's selling tickets for a reasonable price that people can pull up, then I don't like, you know, that's just the market. That is the free market. But at the same time, I feel like you shouldn't resell for $500. Now this is opening night. It was advertised as Joe Rogan and Friends, and this is him bringing Dave Chappelle on.
I'm about to bring up one of the greatest comedians that's ever walked the face of the planet. One of my dear friends, one of my personal heroes in comedy. Please give it up for the great and powerful Dave Chappelle.
Look at that roar. There he is. That's pretty tight because they didn't advertise that he was coming. Giving some love to the fans. So that was opening night. They didn't advertise that he was coming. It was just advertised as Joe Rogan and Friends. So people thought he was probably closing out the night, but he wasn't. Dave Chappelle did. So it seems like a really hot spot for comedy. And it seems like Joe Rogan is going to be changing the game with how much he's paying people. I feel like his goal from the jump was, I'm going to do my own comedy club, and I love Dana White, but I'm going to do everything opposite of him. If you're familiar with the whole fighter pay situation, Dana White is notorious for underpaying fighters, allegedly, right? And I feel like Joe Rogan's like, hey, I don't need any more money. I'm gonna make this pretty smooth and pretty, just break even. I don't need to make a ton of money off of it. I'm not too mad, which is very, very sweet of him. Very, very sweet of him. The bar at the downstairs bar is also called Mitzi's Bar, which is a nod to the original manager, founder of this comedy store in LA, which is kind of the big scene. So I think Joe Rogan's gonna be changing the game. I don't think he's gonna be putting other people out of business, kind of as Andrew Schulz said, but I think it is really cool for comedians to be able to make some money. I know he also rumored that, back in the day before he opened his comedy club, if he could open a comedy club and offer health benefits and all that stuff to the regular comedians. Now that would be nuts. We'll see if it ever gets there. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment down below. I want to know what you guys think. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.